Welcome. Now in this on point 2, we are going to discuss about a statement or a line that the BJP leaders have started to take. And the importance is that this has been articulated by the top functionaries publicly. Though it is not new that, and I would say in context of RSS, that it's something new. I would say that RSS has been a firm belief that the Hindu unity is an important part of nation building exercise. Though this lexicon was absent from BJP in 14 and 2019, the first and the second term revolved around anti-corruption, charade and nationalism. It seems the third seems to revolve around civil code and Hindu unity. The question is the timing of articulation. Is it in response to the constitution and reservation narrative? Is it in response to the caste census politics? Why has BJP decided to push this line now? Does it benefit them? Is this ideological line consistent with the Indian reality? Or is it trying to create a new template of politics? These are the questions we will ask. If you ask me, as a journalist, it's part of the RSS template, those who have been part of the organization. But maybe since BJP has been so strong about it, a lot of people have discovered it for the first time. But let me begin with what the Prime Minister said.
आज हालत ये हो गई है कि आजकल एकता की बात करना तक गुनाह बना दिया गया है। एक समय था जब हम बड़े गर्व के साथ स्कूल, कॉलेज में, घर में, बाहर सहज रूप से एकता के गीत गाते थे। हिंद देश के निवासी सभी जन एक है, रंग रूप वेश भाषा चाहे अनेक है, ये गीत गाए जाते थे। आज की तारीख में कोई ये गीत गाएगा तो उसको अर्बन नक्सलों की जमात गालियां देने का मौका पकड़े लेगी। और आज कोई अगर कह दें कि एक है तो सेफ है, तो ये लोग एक है तो सेफ है उसको भी गलत तरीके से परिभाषित करने में लगेंगे। जो लोग देश को तोड़ना चाहते हैं, जो लोग समाज को बांटना चाहते हैं, उन्हें देश की एकता अखर रही है। और इसलिए मेरे देशवासियों, हमें ऐसे लोगों से, ऐसी विचारों से, ऐसी प्रवृत्ति से, ऐसी वृत्ति से पहले से भी ज्यादा सावधान होने की जरूरत है। हमें सावधान रहना है।
Earlier, Yogi Adityanath has articulated the same line that was supported and explained by the RSS General Secretary Dattatreya Hosabale. Let me play out both the bites.
जो ये लोग जाति की राजनीति करके आपको विभाजित करना चाहते हैं, मैंने कहा था ना कि बटोगे तो कटोगे, एक रहोगे तो नेक रहोगे। कोई माई का लाल आपका बाल बांका नहीं कर पाएगा।
स्लोगन कुत्ते कटेंगे बटेंगे जो भी कहें, स्पिरिट क्या है? हिंदू समाज एकता से, एकात्मता से नहीं रहेगा। तो इतिहास कहता है, आप हम तो कहते हैं, जब जब हिंदू भावों को भूले आए विपद महान, भाई टूटे धरती कोई मिटे धर्म संस्थान, ये हमारे गीत है। तो उसको आजकल के भाषा में ऐसे आपने जो कहा तो हो सकता है। मुद्दा क्या है, स्पिरिट यही है, समाज की एकता एक हम जाति भाषा प्रांत के अगर भेद से हम करेंगे तो हम करेंगे, तो इसलिए एकता आवश्यक है किसी भी राष्ट्र। दूसरी बात यह है कि हम इसे बनाए रखें तो समाज में इसके लिए केवल देखिए उपदेश से होता तो अब तक हो जाता, प्रयत्न करना पड़ता है, तो उसके लिए आचरण में लाना है। अच्छी बात है, आज बहुत सारे धार्मिक और बाकी क्षेत्र के लोग इसको अनुभव से समझ रहे हैं और उसका स्वागत भी कर रहे हैं। इसलिए हिंदू समाज की एकता ये संघ के जीवन व्रत है, हम इसका आग्रहपूर्वक कहेंगे और उसके लिए करेंगे। और हिंदू एकता लोक कल्याण के लिए, हिंदू सबके लिए सुख प्रदान करेगा, दुनिया में किसी भी देश के संकट के लिए। तो इसलिए हिंदू एकता आवश्यक, अपने को भी बनाए रखना, बचाए रखना और दुनिया को भी मंगल करना, इसलिए हम हिंदू एकता चाहते हैं, इसमें कोई दो मत नहीं, दो राय नहीं। और हिंदुओं को तोड़ने के लिए शक्तियां काम करती है, तो उस पर आगाह करना पड़ता है, उसके लिए सावधानी करनी पड़ती है। वो कई प्रकार की शक्तियां हैं, तो हिंदुओं को जाति के नाम पर छोड़ेंगे, विचारधारा के नाम पर छोड़ेंगे और किसी नाम से जोड़ेंगे, तो उसको हमें सावधान रहना है।
Okay. Now, before any wasting any more time, let me straight away go across to my guests, Arun Anand, Ajay, Professor Prasanjit Biswas, and Brijesh Pandey continues to be with me. But I'll start with Arun Anand now. Arun, please put this in perspective. Is it something part of the older tradition, or do you think that this is a new template?
No, it is not a new template, Karthikeya. It is the RSS was founded on the basic premise that Hindu unity has to be created, and Hindu unity is must for the what you call if you really want to take the nation forward. So that has been the basic premise. Then Bharatiya Janata Sangh was also founded on the basis of that premise, and subsequently Bharatiya Janata Party in 1980 was also. That is one of the fundamental premise, and we have seen display of this attempt to create Hindu unity when we had the Ram Janmabhoomi movement, which the BJP officially supported in the Palampur session by passing a resolution in 1989, and it officially supported the movement. But why this thing has come up now again, this batenge to katenge, and suddenly there seems to be a new thrust on it, because post Lok Sabha 2024 results, what we have seen, there are two things which have happened. One is that there seems to be a threat to Hindu unity because there are attempts to create fault lines on the basis of castes. And second, there has been display of a lot of aggression by a section of radical Muslims on roads post 2024, and that has sent a message that the slight reduction of seats which BJP suffered, and that's a crack in the Hindu unity. That is looked at like as a crack in the Hindu unity. So, and this is the kind of pushback which you are getting. We have seen from Aurangabad to Mumbai the kind of procession which took place and in which provocative slogans were raised. There were stone pelting incidents on Durga Visarjan processions. So all these things they have created, and let me tell you, in Haryana, though a lot of political pundits and analysts have said that it was primarily basically that the other backward caste moves towards BJP, but the backward caste or the lot of this umbrella of Hindu unity. So that also played basically a key role in that. So I think the Hindus, they are perceiving a threat from radical Islam. Let me put it very frankly. And though it's a matter of debate, basically, that how serious is that, but they do perceive, and they do perceive this because of the incidents which have happened post 2024, and so this is why this new debate or this new thrust, but this template is not.
Template is not you, Brijesh. To you, how would you respond to Arun?
Well, I think what basically the batoge to katoge is hitting two birds with one stone. to remind Hindus that, that if there is any more crack as the one witnessed in 2024 general election where the PDA trumped the wider Hindutva narrative of Bharatiya Janata Party by a huge margin, and they wanted to blunt that. And B, I think there is also a growing realization that one of the key things which have almost always worked for the Bharatiya Janata Party is the fact that there's this constant fear or portraying the fear of how you can be targeted by radical Islam if there is lessening of numbers of seats as far as the BJP is concerned. What is interesting is that majority of the places, where Arun referred to and all, where those rallies and all took place, most of these states are also governed by Bharatiya Janata Party. The Bharatiya Janata Party is in power. This would be like the third term with fantastic numbers. I mean, 240 is definitely not 272, but they have got enough seat to form a very stable government in the center. So I would see that that what was raised as a war cry by Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, he made it very clear in the bite itself. What he exactly means by batoge to katoge, and what is the exact import of the statement. I understand that Dattatreya Hosabale can't speak in the same language, and he has to kind of sugarcoat the entire thing. But what exactly the sentence meant has been very clearly stated by the Chief Minister. So I don't think that there is any confusion of what exactly he meant.
Ajay, do you think that this doubling down is happening because of the constitution and the reservation issue?
Look, first, Kartikeya, let's look at what Prime Minister Modi used to say in 2014, 2019. He had this brilliant moral slogan, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. I mean, think of that. That was picked up even in the international media. I've heard presidents and prime ministers abroad saying, what a great moral imperative Prime Minister Modi gave. Compare that to batenge to katenge. This is a defensive statement. This is not moral. This should not come from the Prime Minister. This is typically when the attack began, not according to me, it might be, as Arun pointed out, by Islam, but I think it was much more by the caste survey, by the Congress party, by the PDS slogan of Akhilesh Yadav, by the Mandal forces. Then this unity slogan has suddenly jumped up. And what happened? Prime Minister's hand basically was, he had to play down his hand because the BJP lost. It's down to 240 from the massive majority of 2014, 2019. So this is not Prime Minister speaking. This is Prime Minister echoing Yogi Adityanath, who is not as great a visionary as Prime Minister Modi. So I think it's a climb down by Prime Minister. I think the Prime Minister's still the old slogan of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas shows that the whole country is united. Sabke Saath. Whereas this one is just a call for Hindu unity against who? Against Islam, but based on a threat by the so-called, Mandal forces, based by the threat of combining caste survey with the constitution that worked, as we saw in Uttar Pradesh, in Rajasthan, in Maharashtra during the Lok Sabha. So I think this is a very defensive BJP slogan, not at all moral. It is basically strategic. It is basically responding to a threat. Whereas Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas was a moral imperative. No one could attack it. Neither the opposition. No one, So
Okay.
I think the real climb down by the BJP, in fact, I think the better slogan, the more moral slogan, the more effective slogan is the former slogan of Prime Minister Modi.
Okay, now let me play out the other side of the story, because the India bloc, which found success by highlighting the constitution, the reservation narrative in 2024 Lok Sabha election, has come out with a new line. Now, Samajwadi Party has issued a slogan to counter the tagline of BJP and RSS, Judenge to Jeetenge. Now, SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav said that the current tagline has been devised out of fear of the Pichda, Dalit, Adivasi alliance. Now, let me play out the bite of Akhilesh and then I have a question.
ये पीडीए की ताकत से घबरा करके ये नारा निकाला गया है और ये किस लैब में तैयार हुआ है और सबसे सुटेबल व्यक्ति कौन हो सकता था, उसके लिए हमारे मुख्यमंत्री जी को आगे लाया गया। इस बार पीडीए लोगों को जोड़ेगा। पीडीए की बढ़ती हुई ताकत से बीजेपी घबराई हुई है, इसीलिए इस तरह के नारे दे रही है।
Prasanajit, if you look at the word जुड़ेंगे तो जीतेंगे and पिछड़ा Dalit Adivasi, it is minus Muslims. So my question is, has BJP already set the template of the new politics in this country? Even the parties which profess to be close to the Muslim cause or supposed to be secular, they have not used the word Muslim in it. Pichda, Dalit and Adivasi is an identity. It's a born identity. Dalit is also a born identity. Pichda is not an identity of birth. Anyone can be Pichda. You have reservation and benefits for upper caste who are economically disadvantageous position. But they have not used Muslims. Your comment?
You see, the kind of anti-Muslim rhetoric that has come out from the Hindu right is not a very welcome kind of a political positioning. Because political positioning in a democracy has to be inclusive. As previous panelist has pointed out, Sabka Saath, Sabka Biswas has a greater moral depth than merely saying Batoge to Katoge, to which India bloc has ample ammunition to sharpen their counter attack by saying that na PDA batenge, na PDA katenge. So PDA batenge bhi nahi, katenge bhi nahi, judenge more and more. So ye jo ek impetus has come from Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, that impetus is actually working on the ground. And the whole slogan about Hindu society getting divided is more an upper caste concern. And the upper caste concern is largely anti-reservationists as well, as you know. Most of the upper caste people are anti-reservationists. Unfortunately, the Hindu right, led by Bharatiya Janata Party, identifies itself with the upper caste, the Brahmins and the Baniyas. Now, the point here is that they cannot do a kind of a double-edged
Prasanajit, but if that is the reason, how come there is so much of active mobilization and BJP's strength in the scheduled caste and Adivasi segments? If you analyze the Lok Sabha results of 14 in 2019, they have done pretty well there. It's just the setback in 2024. So it means that this binary which you have spoken does not translate that into the ground. People, irrespective of that, have voted for BJP in terms of sheer numbers, sir.
2024 Lok Sabha election as a reference point, and how PDA combination worked there. You can see among the SC/STs also, the India bloc has garnered larger amount of vote. They garnered almost 57% vote among the Jatavs, Pasi and others who are SC/ST, 20% in Uttar Pradesh. Among the OBCs, even Maurya vote didn't go to BJP's side. Kurmi vote didn't go to BJP's side. Nishad's, Malla, Lod, Jat, their vote totally swung away from the BJP side. So already these smaller castes have moved away from the larger politics of so-called Hindu unity. I'm saying so-called Hindu unity because Hindu unity,
Prasanajit, if you look at the data, Prasanajit, if you look at the data says that the NDA got 44.8% of the vote. India, including Congress, got 35.1% of the vote. If you look at the vote share, BJP got 42.6%, Congress got 30.1%, BJP got 25 seats, Congress got 12 seats, India got 26 seats, and India, including Congress, got 16 seats. I'm saying there was a vote jump which took place for the Congress party, but it doesn't mean that the BJP was completely sided. My point is very simple. My point is there a new template? That's the question which I asked you, because in PDA, the Muslim is still absent.
No, Muslims are firmly, you can see in various seats, Muslim candidates have been put up by Samajwadi Party. Out of the 10 seats, I think 3-4 seats are given to the Muslim, 3 seats are given to the Muslim candidates. So Muslim candidates are already present, and therefore a special political engineering is not required. Now what is required is that the slogan by Yogi ji or Modi ji should not sway the lower caste, the Nishads, the Mallas, the Kevach, the Kurmis, and all this. So to keep them together, as it was in Lok Sabha election, the Samajwadi Party and the India bloc is doing their reservation politics.
Okay.
They are talking about caste census and increasing
Okay.
reservation
ठीक है.
up to 65%.
ठीक है. This brings me to another issue. This brings me to another issue. Do you think there is an absence of unapologetic politics which stands in complete contrast to RSS, which for some time Rahul did? Complete unapologetic politics, that you don't shy away with Muslims on your platform.
See,
Is that an issue, Brijesh?
I think, you know, when you are asking these questions as to why Muslims are absent, you know, the reason why Muslims are absent is because if you you know, the BJP had the Yadav minus OBC and it had cemented that caste you know, caste bloc. And this is the reason why, you know, look at the performance in 14, 19, 17, 22, they performed brilliantly. But with the PDA, you know, it created, and with the constitution saying that, you know, that they will change the constitution, it brought significant chinks into that bloc of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Samajwadi Party is also aware of the fact that if it starts adding the name, the Muslim also in the PDA angle, then, you know, it would further fuel the batoge to katoge narrative of Bharatiya Janata Party. And that is the reason why the Muslim word is absent. And you know, and one thing is very clear, that the PDA is also now, they have tasted success with their experiment with other castes. You know, based on only my combination, Samajwadi Party is not going to win beyond a point.
Okay.
And that is the reason why they are very apologetically they're wooing the other caste combinations.
Arun, let me ask this point blank to you. Don't you think that this is othering Muslims in this country? They are a sizable part of it. Why does Hindu unity has to be in contrast with Islam? Why can't Hindu unity be a mission in itself? Why does it need an other to unite itself?
My understanding is that it's not about you know, Hindu unity versus Islam. It's about Hindu unity versus radical Islam. So that's why I had specifically mentioned about radical Islam. And radical Islam is a global challenge now. It's not only a challenge in India. See, another thing is, when it is good to talk about, you know, that the PM should take a high moral stand of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. But my understanding is that after the Lok Sabha election results, when the results were analyzed, the BJP had a lot of pushback from its own workers, because they realized that though they had done a lot for Muslims, but they hardly got any Muslim votes. So it was just like कि फायदा बीजेपी की सरकारों से लेंगे, लेकिन वोट किसी भी हालत में बीजेपी को भी नहीं देंगे. And for no rhyme or reason, just because. So it is actually basically they have created, you know, a situation where this polarization is happening. If a government has worked for you, why you are not voting? I'm nobody to, you know, compel you. But there has to, just because it's a BJP government and it represents, so they have, it's a BJP and it represents only Hindus and Hindu unity. So they have pushed back basically, you know, BJP into that corner where it has to take up this slogan of batenge to katenge.
Let me ask you another question before I go to Ajay. Do you think, Arun, BJP overestimated its strength of community neutral welfareism, feeling that it would override its ideological rough edges?
I think, you know, initially, you know, after 2014 and, you know, some of the Pasmanda Muslims had also voted for BJP. Yes, I would agree with you. I won't say that BJP overestimated, but I think BJP probably, you know, underestimated the kind of animosity which a large section of Muslims have towards the BJP. They thought that with, you know, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, they would be able to, you know, kind of make a dent, make inroads. And they also, and, you know, the global situation was also developing in such a way that, you know, you had to take, you know, the Muslim society along with you. And apart from that, there has been a general consensus within the Sangh Parivar also that there are 25 crore Muslims in this country now, around 25 crore Muslims. So you cannot have, you know, a progressive nation, a growing nation without Muslims being part of it. The only problem which they have is basically about radical Muslims or radical Islam. Okay. So when this slogan is coming, batenge to katenge, it is not about, you know, targeting a common Muslim. It's basically cautioning the Hindu and emphasizing the Hindu unity for in context of the radical Islam.
Okay, you're making a distinction between Islam and radical Islam. Ajit, same question to you. Do you have a different perspective? My understanding as a journalist is that this welfareism, which was completely neutral, community agnostic, helped the Muslim community, has not been able to override the ideological roughsheds. I think that's where the challenge is. So, is it correct to say that you have to see the community not only from the perspective, the economic benefit it accrues from the state, but from the ideological project of the state? And that ideological project of the state is the political spirit that is reflected. And I think that's where there is a word in Hindi, wahi dvand hai.
Well, Karthik, let me put it this way. Politics is always a combination of identity and ideas, okay? Economics and culture. Always, everywhere in the world, you see that, right? Let's take the American elections right now. Trump, the main thing is economy is doing badly and immigration, right? One is an identity issue, one is an economic issue. So it's similar in India. I still feel that a prime minister, when he speaks not just for some silly election. He speaks for governance. He speaks for the country. Prime Minister Modi is a statesman. And therefore, I said that that entire focus, the moral imperative, or that the Prime Minister began with, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, is much wider. You know, it puts him in, in league with the great leaders of the world, right? It puts him in league with Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru and those kind of leaders, rather than just speaking in terms of trying to win an election, which becomes a rhetoric. So that was the point I was making. The other point I wanted to make is...
But that is where I disagree with you, Ajit. That is where I disagree with you. If you look at Modi, I'm falling short of time. Start from his tenure as a chief minister, or even as General Secretary of Himachal Pradesh, he does not give away real politics. And I have always given you the example of the gentleman who made support Bharatiya Janata Party.
But identity politics.
A lot of people said कि प्रधानमंत्री के उस पे stature में नहीं है. But that does not stop him from getting down and doing real politics. Maybe that defines his politics.
Maybe it does. Maybe it makes him a practical politician. But what I'm saying is Prime Minister Modi doesn't need lessons from Yogi Adityanath. He's much bigger statesman. So he should stick to that. Let Yogi Adityanath continue his statement. See, what happened is, before the Lok Sabha election, there was a deep division between the BJP and the RSS. And therefore, it seems that Prime Minister Modi is kowtowing down to the RSS, to people like Yogi Adityanath. There was a time when, Brijesh would know better. People were reassessing whether Adityanath should continue as the Chief Minister of UP or not. So I think this shows some kind of...
That requires full 1 hour of debate. Ajit, that really requires 1 full hour of debate, because I've already fallen short of time. So I would
PDA,
just like...
Hang on, one second. PDA, you kept saying A for... it is A for Alpsankyak. Not only what you pointed out, the tribals, right? Adivasi. So PDA includes the Muslims as the way Akhilesh Yadav had defined it. So Pichhda, Dalit, Alpsankyak. According to me, that's what Akhilesh Yadav had defined it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you for joining this debate. But then I think the bottom line is that in this Judenge and Batenge statement, I think they have set the template of the politics, and I don't think this template is going to go anywhere. Thank you for watching On Point 2, and good night.